The Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live.
Hello, very good evening to you, and welcome to The Locker Room. I think it's the only place where it's not wet at the moment. It's wet everywhere else. So, joined by Mr. Duffy himself. How's it going, Graham?
Not bad. It's been miserable for the last 2 days, so I'm quite glad we're in the house for pretty much all of it.
Exactly, yeah. So our summer is over, so if you've missed 10 seconds of summer, then you'll miss it. You'll begin next year again. So anyway, we're here on our first night. You're thinking, well, what are you doing here on first night? It's the first leg of the Premiership playoff between Raith and Ross County, and I suppose you could say it's half time in the tie. There we go. I told you the weather was bad outside. It's actually beginning to play up in here as well. So we'll hold it together until 11 o'clock, I think. Raith was 1, Ross County 2 in the first leg of the playoff. Second leg on Sunday, and we'll be back on air for that one at 3 o'clock. We'll be doing the postmarks on that game as well. Graham, what's your overall feeling on that game? I don't know about you, but if I was a Raith Rovers fan heading into that game, I would be wondering where my team was tonight, because they never turned up until the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I put in the group chat, the first half wasn't a great game. There wasn't a lot of quality in it, which I understand. It's a big game. You know what's at stake. But I didn't think Raith Rovers really offered much in that first half. This is a county side that I think I've gone 24 games without a clean sheet. They were there to be got at. I thought Ross County were actually all right. First half without creating a lot. I mean, Dabrowski's not had a lot to do. They had a lot of possession, but didn't do anything with it. And Raith Rovers seemed to just go long all the time, and it didn't work. You know, Jack Baldwin and that were just hoovering that up quite comfortably. So the first half, there wasn't a lot in it. Second half was slightly better. It had to be. It was a definite handball. No debate about that. I don't know why it took so. I don't even know why Beaton had to go to the monitor to look at that. It's a penalty all day long. He got the decision right. Good penalty from Jan Danda. If he meant that, it's a brilliant penalty. And then once the second goal goes in from Baldwin, you're thinking that's game over. Comfortable for Ross County. Obviously, our Ross County fan, Ross, would have been delighted with that. Because Raith Rovers hadn't really offered a lot. They had one decent chance in the second half through Aidan Connolly that just went wide. And they didn't really do a lot. And then Sam Stanton gets a goal back. It's great football, actually. The one time they actually played a bit of football, they got a goal from it. And I think that is going to be crucial, because if they've been going to Dingwall with a 2-0 defeat, I think it probably is game over. But that goal gives them that slight edge now. And they actually started to look better after they got the goal. And I kind of think to myself, if you'd done that at the start, you might have had a chance of getting into this game. And I think with a few minutes to go, they had a golden opportunity. Josh Mullen, again, drags his shot wide. I think he's got to score. They've got a header not long at the end. I think, again, he's got to do better. So they actually started to come into the game when they got the goal back. So 2-1 going to Dingwall, you've got to fancy Ross County, but I just think that goal from Stanton just changes the tie ever so slightly.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back at that chance, if you look back at that Mullen chance at the end of the game, that was a brilliant chance to make it 2 each, Graham.
I think, maybe I'm being harsh, but I think he should score. I mean, he brings the ball down. If he gets it on target, he's probably going to score. And he drags it really, it's not even close. He drags it badly wide. I think he's got to do better there. It's a great chance for a team that, let's be honest, for most of the game wasn't in it. You know, Raith Rovers had really done very little. Surprised at how poor they were, especially first half. You're at home with that crowd behind you. The crowd was buzzing before the game. And you're thinking, right, what have you got? And they didn't really offer a lot. County with a better side without really creating very much. Like I said, Dabrowski's not had the save to make in that first half. Second half, he had a few more. I thought Jan Dander's second half was excellent. took his penalty well, obviously made the goal for Jack Baldwin, and I thought he was controlling the game. But that goal from Stanton, I just think makes a massive difference, because now Ross County will go back home thinking it's only 2-1. If Raith were to get the first goal there, it's going to be very interesting. But for a team that didn't do a lot in that game, they should be going to Dingwall with a 2-2, because I think Josh Mullins got to score.
I think that is a good point that Robbie Collins, Music's Meg on YouTube, thanks for watching, Robbie. Basically, he says, think that game tonight showed the quality between the Premiership and the Championship. Yeah, I think it did. Don't think Raith Rovers showed anything against a very poor Ross County team. And that's the thing, Glenn, because obviously we can talk about it in a minute, but like up to now, Raith Rovers has did well in the playoffs against Ergley and Packet Thistle, but it just shows you that they kind of step up. But I mean, I don't know if that's a bit unfair to make, because I don't think Raith Rovers showed up at all tonight.
No, I don't think they did. Like I said, until Sam Stanton scored that goal, they were never in it. It was a real surprise they even got the goal back. I just thought first half, being at home, having seen, if I'm Raith Rovers, watching what Partick Thistle did to Ross County last season at home. Now, Partick should have won that game 4-5. That game should have been out of sight. And I'm thinking, if I'm Raith fan, that's what I want my team to do. Come out, really go after Ross County, because Ross County are in the playoff place for a reason. They've not had a very good season. They're not a great side. Yes, they've got a bit of quality with, like, say, Jan Danda and maybe Jordan White up top. But apart from that, Ross County haven't really done very much this season, and that's a golden opportunity for Raith Rovers. And I think they blew it tonight. And I think Ian Murray will know that himself. I'm sure at half-time he got into his team, because they did come out slightly better second half, but first half, they missed a golden opportunity to have a go at that Ross County team. Like I said, Ross County didn't create a lot in the first half, but they controlled the game, they controlled the tempo, and I just thought Raith were playing far too many long balls up to Jack Hamilton, who didn't win anything against the likes of Jack Bowman, and no wonder. Get the ball on the ground, and they didn't do it. But like I said, if they go to Dingwall 2-1 down or 2-0 down, it's a different game. But the fact they got that goal right at the end, that might just help them, because they can't be as flat in the second leg as they were in that first half today, because I thought they were really poor first half.
I don't want to put the cuss in it, Graham, but Danda and Shantling up front for Hearts next season. If you might break up the big two, but anyway, we'll leave that one to next season, and I don't want to put the cuss in it. But anyway, I'll move swiftly on. Graham's like that. Why did you cuss it for, Michael? Anyway, good evening to Annalino. He is watching on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed that game as well. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to write home in the first half about Raith Rovers. As you said, Graham, it was all Ross County. They had about four good chances as well, and that wasn't until maybe the end of the game. I think it wasn't until Raith Rovers got the goal, kind of woke them up a wee bit as well. But take you back to the penalty, Graham. It was a set penalty. Brilliant camera work as well, I must say.
Yeah, and again, he come back to his point about officials. I don't know how John Beaton's not seen that in the first place. Now, I know they eventually get the decision right, but that was quite a simple call. You could see that quite clearly. It was a penalty kick. The guy's got his arm out away from his body. It's a definite penalty. I mean, that is what VAR's there for, to pick that up. But I don't think he needed VAR. John Beaton should have seen that. That was a penalty. Now, eventually, they do get right call, and it is a definite penalty. There's no debate about that. We've talked so many times this season about what's handball, what's not. Well, that definitely was a handball. There was no debate on that. I don't know why it took John Beaton so long to look at VAR. It took about 10 minutes to look at it to see it's a penalty. You don't need more than that. But yeah, definite penalty. And fair play to Danda. He tucks it away really well. Really, really good penalty. And I cannot wait to see him Arse next season. I'm buzzing to see him next season. He's class.
If you were a Raith Rovers fan, would you be coming out of that game thinking, lucky it's 2-1.
I think I'd be frustrated. I think I'd want my team to be a lot better, especially first half. You're at home. Now, I know that Ross County are Premiership team, but you're at home. That's where I think you've got to take the game to the Premiership team. And they didn't do that, especially in the first half. I thought they were very, very poor. They couldn't get their white players into the game. Barely even saw Aidan Connolly. Sam Stanton didn't really get a lot of the ball. Jack Hamilton up top didn't get a lot of the ball. They just didn't do enough going forward. They were just playing too many long balls. And it played into County's hands. They were dominating at the back. They had to do something a bit different. And they didn't do enough. But like that goal from Stanton could make all the difference. Like I keep saying, had they gone to Dingwall 2-0 down, I think it's much harder for them. But the fact they've got that goal back just puts that bit of doubt in Ross County's mind to say, wait a minute, this game's not done yet. And let's be honest, it probably should have been. They should have been out of sight, and they're not.
You giving to Gregor watching it on YouTube. I hope you're well as well. Going back to Robbie's question earlier on, do you think that there's a bit of a gap between the Premiership and the Championship, and also as well that don't forget that Ross County has got home advantage now in the playoffs. I think we'll come back to speak about this, Glenn, but I don't really like a setup. A final should be a one-off game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If it was, then Raith Rovers are out. But, I don't think there's that much of a gap between the top of the Championship and bottom of the Premiership. I really don't. And it showed last season. Partick Thistle took Ross County all the way, although Partick should have won the game. Let's be honest, they're 3-0 up. They should never have lost that game. But I don't think there's that massive a gap. I think if that had been St Johnstone tonight, I think it's a different story. I think Raith probably would have been better against St Johnstone. Ross County didn't really do a lot tonight, but they had that little bit of quality in Jan Dander with the penalty and the set piece. And I think middle of the park, Ross County probably did dominate the game, but I didn't think there was a massive, massive gap between the top of the Championship and bottom of the Premiership. It's just that Raith Rovers for me didn't do enough. And that's the big thing for me. They didn't do enough.
And I suppose you could say the same thing about, and Ross put it in the chat at the weekend as well. I think you could say the same thing about Dander. If he was away to say Hearts at the moment, I think they would be on the same boat as St Johnstone, struggling for goals. The only difference was Dander's get the goal.
Yeah, I thought Dander, I'm not just saying this because I come out of Hearts, I thought he was really good tonight. I thought he controlled a lot of that game. You could see his ability, his passing range. He was constantly getting the ball, trying to make things happen. He had one shot in the first half that he takes a great touch and puts over the bar. I thought he should have done better there, but I thought Dander's class really showed, and I don't think Raith Rovers really got to grips with him. But apart from that, Ross County weren't amazing. They just played a bit better second half, and they got their goals. But I just think the frustration for me, if I'm a Raith Rovers fan, is how poor they were in the first half. Because that was a chance to really go at Ross County right for the start, get after them, get in their faces. And they didn't really do it until they got that goal near the end. And then they started to show something. And like I said earlier, they should be going to Dingwall, which sounds mental, given how poor they were. They should be going to Dingwall level. Because I just think that chance that Josh Mullen has, he has to score.
And I think this is the only show that I can make this joke on, so I'm going to take this opportunity and say Wilson, Gorgon, Brown was sitting in the middle, but I don't know if he was going to be sitting on the right or the left. I know Chris Sutton's got on Sky, but there you go. That's my joke over for tonight. Anyway, but yeah, I think he would be a very disappointing man, because Raith Rovers has put a lot into these games, Graham, until tonight. I don't know if Ross County surprised them getting off to a very fast start in the game, or whatever. And I'm thinking when Raith Rovers scored, I think that was their first real shot of goal for the whole game.
I think it was. It's so frustrating, because I generally thought Raith, I've said for weeks that I think Raith will come up, and then watching that tonight, I'm thinking maybe they won't, because I want to see Raith Rovers up. I want to see something a bit different in the Premier League, and they just didn't do enough in the first half. They didn't create anything. Like I said, they didn't get the white players in the game. it was too many long balls that Ross County just dealt with so comfortably. I expected better from Raith being at home, having a home advantage, having that. You heard before the game, the crowd was really up for it. I thought the Raith Rovers crowd were absolutely brilliant tonight. They kept behind their team. Even when they were getting beat, they still kept behind them. I think they're taking, over 2,500 to Dingwall, who'll go probably more positive with that goal than they would have done about half an hour ago. But I just think it's such a frustration that they just didn't do enough in the first half. I think they maybe were a bit surprised by Ross County's tactics and the formation they played. They couldn't really get to grips with it. But just be a bit more in their faces, and they didn't do enough. I was really surprised at how poor Raith Rovers were tonight.
Yeah, no, I mean Scott Brown was very quiet tonight. I thought, and he showed his quality. And was it this season or last season? He scored a brilliant goal against Packet Thistle. I think it was at New Year. I think it was as well. But it's a usual when you look at the team lineups after the game, Graham. I'm kind of finding it difficult to make a case for the team of Raith Rovers at home, but the opposite way, like Ross County, they are Nightingale, they are King, they are Dander. That's without saying. They are Jordan White and Simon Murray as well.
Yeah, I didn't actually think Simon Murray had a brilliant game tonight, or Jordan White. They were I couldn't fault the work rate from either team or either players, but I didn't really think White and Murray really offered a lot, and it was no surprise Murray eventually got taken off. But you talked about Scott Brown there. There was moments in the first half you could tell he was getting really frustrated because just nothing was coming off. There was a few slack passes from Raith Rovers players. You could actually see Brown physically raging at his teammates. And I think that's what he needed to do. He needs to be raging at them because that first half, you need to get them by the scruff of the neck and say, "Hoy, we need to start doing something here because this is not good enough." They were just, I think Raith are very fortunate that Ross County, for all the possession they had first half, didn't really create anything. I can't remember Dabrowski having a save to make in that first half. Whereas second half, I think he did have 2 or 3 really big saves. There was one near the end when Connor Randall took a really good touch on his left foot and managed to block it. That was a really good save because if that goes 3-1, then for me it's game over. But I just think, honestly, Raith Rovers tonight will be coming away from that game going, we should have done more, and they didn't. But I go back to what I said earlier, they could be going to Dingwall with a 2-2 because that chance that Mullen has, if he gets that on target, he scores him. And he puts it, it's not even close, it's well wide. He's got to score that. And I think also there was a chance as well with a header at the back post that I kind of agree with Chris Sutton on as well, which I don't normally. But he said the guy should score as well. And I think he's right. He's got to get it on target. So for all that Raith Rovers didn't play that well tonight, they still could have been going to Dingwall with at least a draw.
Now, I can't believe I'm asking you this question in the middle of the game, Graham, but that Raith Rovers goalkeeper, Democraw, I'm surprised none of the top sides in the Premiership are looking at him because he's a decent goalkeeper.
Dabrowski's had a really good season. Raith have had a really good season, and he's been part of that. And I thought he was really good. I thought he was really good tonight, especially second half. He did have to make 2 or 3 really big saves. He had no chance with a penalty or the goal from the corner. He had nothing he could do about that. But apart from that, he had a couple of really big saves to make, and that's what you need. You need your keeper in these games to make big saves, and he did do that. I don't think he'll be at Raith for long, though. I could see, for example, let's say St Johnstone were to lose Meatoff. I could see St Johnstone taking a chance on Dabrowski because he is a very good goalkeeper. There'll be definitely bigger clubs looking at him if he keeps playing like that.
Who'll be the happy of the manager then, Don Cowie or Neil Murray? Just because I'm thinking about, Ross County's got home advantage now.
Yeah, I think you've got to say Don Cowie will be happier. Taking a lead back to Dingwall, I think he'd have liked to be a bit more comfortable. He'll be disappointed that, again, they've not managed to keep a clean sheet. They just concede every week. So I suppose that's the one thing I'd look for if I'm Raith Rovers tonight, though. The fact that Ross County do concede, and they concede goals at home as well. So that'll be something that Ian Murray can take away. But I think if you're Don Cowie and Ross County fans, you're going away from that game thinking, well, we've got the lead. We're at home in the second leg. We've got a great chance now. But I'm intrigued to see what Raith Rovers do in the second leg because they they have to go for it now.
Yeah.
They're getting beat. They have to go for it. So it should make a more open game. Tonight seemed quite nervous. It was quite cagey, which again I understand. But I think the second leg will be a bit more open now.
Paul Donaldson says on YouTube, "Hi all, listening to the game on the radio." Graham, I don't think we were on during the game. And I watched the highlights later. Again, we're not doing the highlights. I'm only kidding, Paul. And also Paul Donaldson says Ross County played well on Sunday against Aberdeen, and I thought if they played the same way, they have a good chance in the playoffs. I don't know if you were at the game on Sunday, Paul. Maybe you can let us know. That was the last day of summer as well. So there you go. Now let's have a wee moan, Graham, right? Because obviously me and Graham let's moan. I don't know who's the biggest moaner, me or Graham. But should that game be a final? A one-off game?
Yeah, I think it should be. A neutral venue at obviously I don't know what you would play it, but I think it would be better if it was a one-off game. I mean, it might be more cagey though if it's a one-off game, but I mean, why are you having a two-leg game? And I've said it before as well, it always benefits the Premiership team because they're at home. And I think there was a stat before the game that only 3 Championship teams have come up before since these things have come in. So it always benefits the Premiership team, and it always will. You know, a one-off game, you just never know. You could get through. Obviously, tonight wouldn't work for Raith Rovers, but yeah, I think it should be a one-off game. 2 legs, I just don't think's a good idea. And especially if you look at the game on Sunday, it's a 12 o'clock kickoff in Dingwall. So Raith Rovers fans are going to have to go up really early for a 12 o'clock kickoff. I don't know why they've done that. I think the game last season was a 3 o'clock kickoff, the Partick Ross County game. Why they've made that a lunchtime game in Dingwall is just crazy. Now
Graham knows how to push my buttons because it's on Sky. I know it was on Sky last year, and that's the thing, Graham. Right? I'm just gonna have a wee moan as I always do as well. Every game in the playoffs is on BBC, apart from the final. But anyway,
do you know the funny thing is, right? I tuned in for the game today, and I should have known this because I did actually check, but I did it anyway. I tuned in for the game today and put BBC on and thought, oh, it's not on, and then realised, oh, it's Sky.
Yeah,
so I did it as well. I thought it was on BBC, that I changed.
And plus, it was the 8 o'clock kickoff. It wasn't 7:45. As well. But yeah, I might write an email to UEFA and say, look, can you make the Champions League a 2-leg final?
I honestly just don't think the Premiership thing should be a 2-legged game because, like I said, only 3 Championship teams have come up. One of them was Hamilton because they're like Hibs. That's the only reason I remember that. But for only 3 of them I've actually done it before, it's crazy. 1 leg at a neutral venue, I think makes perfect sense. You can play it you can play it at Tannadice or Dundee or whatever, but on McDermott Park, I just think having a 2-legged game for this just sounds crazy.
I mean, Paul Donaldson basically said 12 o'clock kickoff was ridiculous, but I mean, have you ever saw the FA Cup in England kicking off at 11 o'clock, Graham? Maybe.
Oh, they would never do that. No chance.
You know, so I mean, even 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock kickoff for a final would be fine because it's a holiday weekend.
Well, even on Saturday, for example, right, the FA Cup and the Scottish Cup final used to be different times, but they're both at 3 o'clock. So if you wanted to watch both games, you can't, unless you got 2 TVs, you can't watch both games. And I quite like watching the cup finals and stuff, but you can't watch both because they're at the same time. One of them used to be at 3 o'clock, one was at 5 o'clock, so you could tune out the other one. Honestly, it's just TV these days is just doing my nothing.
Yeah, no, I know exactly, and I think the only way that Raith Rovers will manage to get up there is by leaving very early on Sunday morning or go up there on Saturday night.
I think that's what they'll have to do. Go up Saturday night because you don't want to take the risk as well with the weather and stuff. The way it's been so far with flooding and stuff, you don't want to take the chance you're going to be late for the 12 o'clock kickoff. It's ridiculous that they're making them go up to Dingwall for a 12 o'clock kickoff. It's nuts. And again, they don't care about the fans either. Because the Raith Rovers fans, like I said, 2,500 travelling up there on a Sunday morning. It's ridiculous.
Okay, that's my moan over. You might hear another moan tomorrow night or Sunday if you're lucky enough to tune into the show. Let's get back to the game. If you've just tuned in, Raith Rovers 1, Ross County 2. Would you make Ross County slight favourites now going into the second leg then?
Yeah, I think I probably would. But like I said, that goal that Stanton scores, that could really change it. Because at least Raith Rovers go there now with a goal. If it's 2-0, I think it's a completely different game. But that goal that Sam Stanton scored will put a bit of doubt in Ross County's minds as well, because they think, well, we are favourites. We pretty much dominate most of the game and haven't managed to be comfortable. So I would make County slight favourites because they're at home, but you just never know. You know, I mean, Ross County in this position again after last season. I think I said end of last season to Ross when they won that game against Partick. I thought they can't be in this position again. And here they are again. You know, they're back in exactly the same place again. Could they stay up again? I think the way it's going, they probably will. But I have no horse in this race. But I would like to, sorry, Ross, if you're watching this, you probably won't be. But I'd like to see Raith come up because I'd like to see something a bit different. But I think I would have to fancy Ross County now.
The only thing with that, I hope Ross isn't listening either, but yeah, it would be nice to maybe go to that ski game next year. But the problem with that, Graham, is you have two official parks in the Premiership next season.
I know, and there is that thing that came out a couple of days ago about that vote to basically scrap artificial pitches in the Premier League, and then we could maybe have Raith Rovers up. That would be ironic. But yeah, the Raith Rovers Park's actually one of the better ones. It's far better than I've seen. It's far better than Kilmarnock's ground and far better than Livingston's ground. So I wouldn't kind of mind that because it looks like a decent park. But then again, I understand why clubs don't like it. I've said previously I'm not a fan of plastic pitches in the Premier League, but Raith Rovers is one of the better ones. Yeah, I didn't actually realise as well tonight before the game that they had VAR tonight because I didn't know that Raith Rovers had that. Clearly they do.
I think they only use it in the Premiership playoff. They don't do it in every. It's a bit like the Scottish Cup, right? They don't do that in the earlier rounds. They just keep it until the semi-final or the final. But yeah, I think that would be a bit unfair because I think that was, if I had a chance to speak to Ian Murray yesterday, that would be one of the questions I would ask him about. Because I don't think Raith Rovers has ever been in a later round of a cup competition where they have VAR, and tonight was the first time.
Yeah, it was when John Beaton came out and stuff, and the guy in the commentary said the VAR tonight will be whoever it was, and I thought, oh, I didn't realise they had it. And to be honest, I don't think Ian Murray can have any real complaints about VAR tonight because it did its job with a handball. It was a definite handball. We talked about it so many times this season, but it was a definite handball. So if Raith Rovers did come up, they're going to have to suffer the same as we all are with the officials. But tonight, I think they pretty much got it all right, to be fair.
Talking about Graham's favourite subject, VAR, we're doing our special show. We got there in the end, Graham. Take a lot of work. That's why I'm losing my hair at the moment. Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, be here because we have got that ex-ref, Stephen Conroy, on the show at 7 o'clock. So join us for that one as well. Paul Donaldson says as well, did you guys see the joint statement put out by the four clubs about the artificial parks? Was that the one you were talking about, Glenn? Because I don't think I've seen the statement.
I did see something about that on Twitter or X, if you want to call it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So listen out for that one. So they watch out for that one, actually. Well, listen out and watch out and shake it about. On Wednesday night, I'm not going to go anywhere else with that one. 7 o'clock, we'll be here for an hour and a half. Speaking about Graham's favourite subject, VAR.
I'm looking forward to this.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. By look, I'm on standby with the comments. Graham's got the block button ready. He's got the finger on the pulse.
I think this could be one of our busier shows, to be honest.
I think you could be right, Graham, but we'll go. Yeah, get your comments coming in. You know what will happen, Graham, don't you? We'll have about 10 comments before 6:30.
they'll all be from Paul Donaldson, though.
Yeah.
He's our best contributor.
Exactly, yeah. And it begins with F. Anyway, yep. So, second leg on Sunday. Do you think that the tight park would suit Ross County better than Rovers, Graham?
Probably. I mean, the fact that it's at home ground as well will make it a bit easier. And I think what Raith Rovers can't afford to do is allow Jan Danda to get the space he did tonight. Because if you allow him that kind of space, then he will cause you damage. So I think they've got to put, even like Scott Brown, do a man marking job on Danda. Because if they keep Danda quiet, they've got a chance. If they let him basically dominate the game like he pretty much did most of the game tonight, then they've probably got no chance. But again, like we say it all the time when we do different shows, the first goal is going to be crucial. I mean, if Raith Rovers were to get that first goal, I just wonder how Ross County would react after what happened last season. It could be really important. But I think if Ross County get the first goal and get it early, then I don't really see Raith Rovers coming back. So I think the first goal is going to be really crucial.
I know everybody says ifs, buts, and maybes and all that kind of thing, but if Danda wasn't playing tonight for Ross County, I need to get my arse I need to got mixing my arse up. I've got to watch what I say, get my teeth in the right way.
Just do a proclaimers and throw the R away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, I'll give you that one, Graham. I'll give you that one. That sports scene just starting. Paul, Graham, I've never heard of that program before. Sports scene.
Not as good as us.
No, it's not good as us. I'm trying to think what to say to that, but I can't. I'll come back to that one. I better watch what to say. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I was going to say if you take Danda out of the team tonight, I know it says if buts and maybes and all that, but do you think it would be a different game?
Yeah, I probably, because I did think he was Ross County's best player by a mile tonight, and I'm not just saying that because Hearts are getting him. I was watching him; he was making a lot of really good movement. He was picking up a lot of space in that number 10 role that really Raith Rovers just didn't manage to react to. And obviously, he's got the penalty. He made the goal for the Jack Baldwin for the set piece. His set piece delivery is absolutely brilliant. Can't wait to see Frankie Kent getting a few goals next season from that. But yeah, I just thought he was the difference tonight. And funny enough, once he went off, that was kind of when Raith Rovers had their best spell. And obviously, they managed to get the goal back as well. So there's no doubt for me, Jan Danda is going to be the big player on Sunday, which is why I think Raith Rovers need to put somebody on him to stop him dominating the game. Because if he does dominate the game and he can play balls through for likes of Jordan White or Simon Murray, then I think Raith Rovers will be in trouble.
Just looking at Ross County Ben's tonight, Glenn, they had quite a strong Ben's as well. They had Sims, and he scores a lot of goals. Henderson, Reed and Brophy as well. So they had quite a few players that could come on and cause Rovers a bit of trouble.
Yeah, they've got decent options. I know that Sims did come on later on, and he scored the winning penalty for Ross County last season. So it is a threat, but they do have options off the bench if they need them. Tonight they didn't because they managed to win the game. But I just feel disappointed at Raith Rovers because I generally thought at home in a game that I think they had a real chance to go and get something out of, they didn't offer enough. They didn't get the forwards in the game. Like I said at the start, they kept playing long balls. For the majority of that first half, it was just punt, punt, punt. That's not how Raith Rovers have played this season. I've watched a lot of the Championship games this season on the Friday night games, and they actually do play good football. They get the ball on the ground, they try and pass it, they get the ball out wide. They didn't do that tonight. they seem to play. I don't know if it was nerves or whatever it was. They just didn't do enough. And I think if I'm Ian Murray, I don't know what he said after the game, but I'd be frustrated that they just didn't offer enough.
See, I think that's why I want a one-off game, Graham, because that they've gotten a bite of the cherry. Okay, it's away from home, but and it would probably make for a better game as well, kind of like a one-off game as well. And both teams and both sets of supporters would say, right, we've got 90 minutes to skate in the Premiership or going down to the Championship.
Yeah, could you imagine? I'm glad this didn't happen. Could you imagine, like tonight, for example, Ross County won that game like 4-0 tonight? Then it makes the second leg completely pointless. There's absolutely no point Raith Rovers trying up there. But at least a one-off game, it's done. No matter what happens, it's done. I just think a one-off game is far, far better. And I understand why the Premiership team benefits, but I just think it should be that one-off game. Because the second leg definitely is going to benefit Ross County, being at home. But I just think Raith Rovers have got to do more than they did tonight, because they were very, very poor tonight, especially first half. Second half, they were better after they got the goal. And then they had a couple of decent other chances. Like I keep going back to that Mullen chance. That'll haunt him, because I think he should score.
Paul Donaldson says it looked like a big crowd at the match tonight. I don't know if you noticed, Graham, but they actually kind of opened the stand where the TV cameras were on as well. That's the first time I've seen that open. Maybe Raith Rovers are getting carried away with themselves, thinking, well, we might get this open for for a safety certificate and all that if we get up next season as well. And Anna Reno says on YouTube, in the olden days, a bit like when me and Graham were at school, not together obviously, the Scotties in the FA Cup finals were on different dates. Then they were at the same time and date in 87 when St Mirren. Are you a St Mirren fan? Coventry won. Can't recall either being at anything at 3 o'clock. But
they have been different times the FA Cup. They've been 5 o'clock and 5:30 before, and sometimes 4 o'clock as well. So there have been different kickoff times for the FA Cup games.
Yeah, no, I remember. I was just at a few seasons ago that when the Scottish Cup game finished, the FA Cup game was at 5:30 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder. I'm actually wondering how the BBC will work it this year, Graham, because obviously the BBC's got the rights to the Scottish Cup, but they've also got the right to the FA Cup, whether they're going to split it in half and do a kind of network thing. So I'll be interested to see that on Saturday.
The FA Cup final has been different times from the Scottish Cup final, because I've seen a few different FA Cup finals that have been completely different times.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about the season where Sean Maloney was the manager of Graham Wolves. No, Wigan. And they won did they not win the FA Cup?
They beat Man City in the final.
And that was a later kickoff as well. There you go, always part of the service, Graham. As they say, as you see in the shopping, a big supermarket, always happy to help. Yeah.
Happy to be of assistance.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something, Graham. That's why I hanged fire there for a minute or two. I was a bit disappointed in Raith Rovers tonight. I thought they would have put more of I don't want to say effort into the game, because that's a bit hard for me to say, because the professional football players more of a fight into the game.
Yeah, I was disappointed. As a neutral fan, I was hoping for a bit better. I thought they might have been a bit more in Ross County's faces. But it was that first half, they were just so poor. They offered no threat at all to a Ross County side, like I said earlier, that have conceded in the last 24 games. They've not kept a clean sheet. So that was a real chance for them. With the quality they've got up front, like Lewis Vaughan's a really good player. They've got the quality of the guy out wide as well, Aidan Connolly, and Sam Stanton with a goal. They just didn't get them in the game enough. They were just playing long ball, and that's not what Connolly and Hamilton and that want. They want to get the ball on the ground and cause problems. And I think if I'm Ross County, I'm looking at this going, this is great. We'll deal with this all day. Jack Baldwin was just heading everything away because there was no real threat. And then second half, like I said, they did start the second half better. Aidan Connolly's got a really good effort just wide. And then they get the goal from Stanton, and they should have had a couple more later on. But it was the way they started the game. The Raith Rovers fans, like I said, were really up for that game. I thought the crowd was brilliant tonight at Starks Park. Really, really good atmosphere as well. And that's why I hope they come up, because it was really good atmosphere. But their team just didn't do enough. First half, they were so poor. And I'm sure that Ian Murray would have said at half-time, you need to calm yourself down here. You're not doing enough. And they were better second half, but that first half was just, and I put it in the group chat, it was so poor, that first half.
Paul Donaldson's back again, and he says, yep, I am a Wigan fan, and they won the FA Cup, and yeah, they get relegated in the same season. Wow.
Paul doesn't have much luck, is he? Wigan and Aberdeen.
And both finishing bottom half of the table. Who's got more money? Anyway, sorry, that's another debate for another show. Don't think we've got time for that tonight. I might come back to that next season as well. But yeah, I don't know about you, Glenn, but I was, I probably said this far too much on the show, and we've only been on for about 41 minutes, but Raith Rovers were so disappointing. You were expecting more because they put in a lot into the playoffs game against Ergley and Packet. No, they weren't playing Ergley. Come on, Michael. Packet Thistle, they put a lot into that game, and then just fell short, would you say, tonight? But, they've got one more chance.
I actually fancied Raith Rovers over the two legs. I really did. I thought, especially when at home, I thought they'd been decent tonight. I thought they'd really put Ross County under pressure, made it difficult for them, and they just didn't. They really did not do anything in that first half. It was a really flat game. Like I said, Ross County had a lot of the ball first half, but didn't create anything. Dabrowski didn't have a save to make, but in the other end, Ross County keeper had nothing to do. But second half, it was a better game. There was a bit more quality, but Raith Rovers just didn't do enough. But I keep going back to the fact that they are going to Dingwall with a goal back. So they're going there now with a bit more belief than they might have had. And I'm intrigued to see what Raith Rovers do in the second leg. Now, I know I said earlier they've got to go for it, but they don't have to go for it right away. They're only a goal down rather than 2 goals down. So they can kind of be a bit patient, but they've got to be a bit better going forward. They can't just pump long balls, because that didn't work tonight. The one time they actually put a few passes, that's where they got the goal from. Really, really good bit of football as well, actually. And a really good finish from Stanton as well. So they can play. They just didn't do that, and they just didn't do enough today. But they do have that goal back, so that could be really valuable.
Sam Stanton's a good player. He's been about for years as well. So, yeah, he's a good player. 2-1's a funny score, Graham, because obviously they don't want to go into the game and look for that early goal. If they were 2-0 down, you would say, they would need to go for it. But you just look at last year in the game. What was it, 3-0 from the first leg, and we'd done that show. And Packet Thistle, you were saying about Ross County could have won that game, could have won tonight 4-0. Packet Thistle could have won 4-0 in the first leg, but you just have to see what happened in the second half. It was about 20 minutes to go.
That was crazy last season. Well, it was 2-0 from the first leg, and then Partick took the lead in Dingwall to make it 3-0, and you're thinking at that point, game over. Yeah. County are down. And then they just completely fell apart. I felt sorry for Partick because I wanted them to come up. I was gutted for them last season that they couldn't quite go over the line. And then tonight, I'm looking at Raith Rovers thinking, you've got a really good chance here. Ross County have struggled all season. And then again tonight, they've just not done enough. But like you said earlier, 2-1 is a completely different scoreline. Like when Jack Bobbin got the second goal, made it 2-0, I think most folk probably thought, well, that's it, done. That's game over now. But that goal from Stanton just gives them that bit of a lifeline to get back in the game. And they should, I keep saying it, they should be going there with a draw because Josh Mullen should score. But they know they'll get chances on Sunday. County's defence is not great. They will get chances, but they've got to be clinical. But then at the other end as well, I keep saying it as well, they've got to stop Jan Dander. They have to stop him dominating the ball because if he does, then I think he'll cause them a lot of problems.
Just come back to your favourite subject, Graham's VAR, right? It shouldn't be used in the final or any of the quarterfinal or the semi-final because I think that gives the advantage to the Premiership team because they're used to it. I mean, they play with it every week now, whereas the Championship only comes up against it in like a final of the Scottish Cup or a semi-final.
Yeah, I think either use it all the time or don't use it at all. I do think it gives a very unfair advantage to the Premiership team, again, like having a two-legged game is. But I don't have an issue with it tonight because it did, I wonder what Ian Murray thought before the game about VAR. But he can't have any complaints tonight because the right decision was made, although I think John Beaton should get it straight away because it wasn't difficult. You could clearly see it was a handball. His arms were outstretched. It's a definite penalty. But yeah, I mean, if Raith Rovers do come up, they're going to have to suffer the same as us next season. But I keep going back to the fact it's not VAR. It's the officials that are the issue. And I can't wait to do that show Wednesday because I'm buzzing to talk about it.
And I'm not. I'll be behind a wall somewhere or the couch as well. But yeah, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. I don't know how many times they can plug it, but there you go, 7 o'clock. Your comments coming in. Not now, but leave it till Wednesday night. Leave it until 8:20, right? Because we're on until 8:30, right? And I don't think Grim can stand it.
We literally could be on for about 3 hours.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And Graham wanted to do the show for half an hour as well. Oh, I wonder sometimes. So that's Wednesday night as well. We'll have a wee talking about other shows. We've got shows coming out for the Euros as well. Can't wait for that one. And we've got a Euro show coming up on the 9th of June. And Graham will be interviewing the voice of Scottish football, Mr. Rory Hamilton. He'll be joining us on the show. So get your comments coming in for that one. So busy summer ahead, Graham.
It is, and this is why I love football. Normally summers are really boring without an international tournament, but the fact we've got a tournament and Scotland's in it just makes it even better. I can't wait for these Scotland shows, and I keep on saying it. I think Scotland gets out the group. That's my bold statement. I think Scotland finished second in that group to Germany.
Yeah, no, exactly. I always say as well to like Reagan as well, that it's all right being at the party, but you want to be at the after show party as well.
Absolutely. Scotland want to be there. It's like I've seen a few posters, people saying no Scotland, no party. And I agree. The Scotland fans are going to be pretty much taking over Germany. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Stephen's going. I think Reagan's going. I think we're the only folk in the locker room that aren't actually going. We're staying here. We're holding up the fort as always.
Yep. Paul, meanwhile, back in the Kingdom of Five tonight, Paul Donaldson says that penalty off one post and the other post as well. Yeah, I don't know about you, Glenn, but I thought he missed it. But it was a good penalty.
If he meant that, it's brilliant. I don't think he meant it, but it's a great penalty. Fair play, sticks that really well, and that really gave them the deserved lead that they needed because they were the far better team for most of that game.
And then, good as well, he said that, and Reno says, "Oh my goodness, I'm looking forward to the Euros." I thought you were going to say something else. So thanks for that. And also, it says it's our time. Yeah, let's take it. By the way, if you want to know the time, it's 10:11, right? But I know what it means. But I mean, if Wales can do it, why can't Scotland not get to the quarterfinals?
Well, I actually think we've got a better side than what Wales have got. So there's no reason that we shouldn't get there. I know that obviously the squad was picked a couple of days ago, and there's been a few selections that have caught a few people's minds. But do you know what? I'm excited.
Goalkeepers.
Yeah, but I think one of them will be cut, though. I think Liam Kelly will be cut. There's been a lot of talk about like Ross McCrory, Ryan Jackman in the squad, Ben Doak. I'm excited for Ben Doak because I think he's a really good young player, but he's not played since December. But do you know what a chance for Scotland? You know, it's a great opportunity for them, and why shouldn't we go there and be confident? We're opening the tournament against the hosts. What a great occasion that's going to be. But I genuinely think Scotland can get the group. I think we'll finish second.
And I'm going to put in a bet with you, Glenn, right? Scotland's going to get a penalty. And you know what happened against when we last opened was it the Euro we opened?
No, it was World Cup.
World Cup, Brazil, yeah. And
that was when John Collins scored the penalty against Brazil.
Yeah. Was it 1-1? No, 2-1. We get beat.
It was 2-1. It was a Tom Boyd own goal.
Yeah. Say no more about that, I have to say. But yeah, back to tonight's game. Sitting leg on Sunday, Glenn, what are you expecting a more kind of open game? Because I mean, both teams has got to go for, even though Ross County has got that lead, but they're playing at home and the fans would be expecting County to go from the beginning.
Yeah, I think I'm expecting a more open game. But like I said, I mean, Raith need to be probably patient, but they've got to show a bit more attacking threat than they did tonight. They showed more attacking threat at 2-1 down than they did the whole of the game. So I think they have to be better going forward. I'm sure that Murray will be telling them that. But with that home advantage, I would expect County to probably dominate the game. And that, I said it before, if that first goal is going to be crucial. I think if County get it 3-1 up, I don't see Raith coming back. But if Raith Rovers were to get it, then it just puts that doubt in Ross County's minds. And you start thinking, if you're a County fan, here we go again after last season. So yeah, the first goals are going to be crucial. But I probably do more fancy Ross County to win it now with that lead.
And also, Graham, that they've got experience being in this kind of playoffs kind of thing and at home as well. Are you expecting any kind of big changes in the teams for Sunday in both teams?
I don't know if I expect many from County because they've got the lead. They might maybe bring Eamon Brophy back in, just a bit more pace up front rather than Jordan White, who I do like Jordan White, but he's not really got that pace. I think Raith might make a couple of changes, though. They've got to do something different because they really weren't at it tonight at all, apart from when they got the goal. I think they've got to do a bit more going forward. I wouldn't be surprised if Dylan Easton might start. Maybe make another change up front just to freshen it up. You know, I think again, Scott Brown could be crucial there. Like you said it earlier, he was quiet tonight. I think he was really frustrated. I saw it a few times. He was frustrated that nothing was coming off. So he'll be important. You know, that leadership that he brings, he's going to be important. But I just think that goal back tonight could make a difference. Because if it's 2-0, it's probably game over. But the fact it's 2-1 just gives Raith Rovers that slight chance.
I have a feeling that they'll play Scott Brown and Gordon Brown on Sunday because obviously Gordon Brown will be out in the campaign trail soon, so it might knock some doors and Dingwall, especially if they win the game.
Maybe need Mrs. Brown as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be a hat trick game, Graham, if they get all Mrs. Brown, Gordon, and Scott Brown.
Just get Mrs. Brown boys. That's all you need. That's what they hope for. Mrs. Brown's boys.
Yeah, no, exactly. Let's talk about Ross County fans. I thought they came down in good numbers tonight, Graham.
Yeah, I think Ross might have been there. I think he was going.
I think he was going, yeah.
So it'll be a much better trip up the road than what he might have thought it would have been at the start of the game. And I think as well, like I said, at 2-0 up, he's probably sitting there going, right, I can relax now. This is done. But that goal just plants a little bit of doubt in the head that Sam Stanton got that you think, oh, no, not again. But yeah, it was a really good crowd. And I think Dingwall will be packed on Sunday, even though it's a daft time for a kickoff. I keep going back to the fact that Raith Rovers has taken 2,500 to that game. I think that's brilliant. You know, they're turning out in force a bit more positive for that goal than they might have been if they were going there 2-0 down. So it should be a really good occasion. It should be a far better game this time than it was tonight. I just thought tonight was really cagey. It was quite flat at times. Second half was definitely better. So yeah, I'm expecting a much better game. And I'm expecting probably Ross County to have just about enough to stay up for a second season in a row.
See, that's why I'm going back to it should be a one-off game, Glenn, because you were saying that Ross is going back up to Dingwall where he's happy, and also Raith Rovers has got that goal, so it's planting a seed of doubt. But if that was a one-off game, the game would have been over by now.
Yeah, and again, for both sets of fans, it'll be a lot easier knowing that you're either up or you're not. You know, having to go a second leg and think, right, it's not quite there yet. Ross County fans will be slightly nervous because they're the favourites. Raith Rovers fans, I mean, I know it's a daft thing to say, but they've nothing to lose because they probably weren't expected to get through this anyway. But if they could come up, it would be massive for them. And I mean, if Ross County were to go down, that'll be a massive blow after what happened last season. So it is in the balance, but I do agree with you, and I don't say that very often, but I think it should be a one-off occasion.
And I think now Ross might hate me for saying this, but I think this will be the first time in the history that Ross County is in the Championship and Inverness is in League One. So none of the big Highland teams in the top flight. I don't think that's ever happened before.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And I do feel sorry for the Inverness fans, but I mean, what their board are doing, I've got no idea. You know, there's talk about going into administration. They were in the cup final last season against Celtic, and now they're in League One. It's crazy. Duncan Ferguson has not had the effect that I think a lot of folk thought he would. I think when he first came in, I think he won his first game, and he's not won many after that. I mean, it just feels mental to think of Inverness, who won the cup in 2014, and now they're in League One. I mean, they've just gone completely downhill, and it is a shame because they're a decent club. It's not a bad wee trip up to Inverness, but now they're in League One. It's crazy, absolutely crazy how they're getting run.
And to be honest, in that final against Celtic, I mean, they played well. They defended well. Okay, they get beaten that game, but they defended well for the large part of the game. And you're thinking, well, season's a long time in football because we're talking about Raith Rovers tonight. I mean, we were speaking about Port Ayr United last season, and then Arbroath the season before.
I know, it's crazy that the amount of teams that could have been up, like Arbroath could have been up. Obviously, Partick Thistle could have been up. You could have had Raith up. That's why I've always talked about the fact that it should have been an 18-team league and they didn't do it when COVID hit. But yeah, just the way that Inverness is getting run is not good. I think there'll be a lot of staff probably losing jobs. I'll be surprised if Duncan Ferguson stays in League One. But yeah, it's not great because you're right. Inverness in that final played really well. There was no pressure on them. I think a lot of folk thought they would get hammered and they didn't. They were well in the game. And now they're in League One. It's a crazy situation.
By the way, I know we've got a minute left, right? And I'm going to throw in a curveball here, Graham, right? It's not like me to throw in a curveball, right? But I feel good. It's the summer and the weather's rubbish outside. See if Raith Rovers don't come up. Do you think Hibs will go after Ian Murray?
No, I don't think so. No, I think Ian Murray would... I think he's done well in the Championship, but I don't see him going to Hibs. And I've heard a lot of Hibs fans say they don't want him. I have a feeling the way things are looking at the moment with Malky Mackay, sporting director, and it looks like they're not wanting to pay compensation for managers, I think they'll give it to David Gray. That's where I think it's going. Yeah. I think they'll give it to him.
Yeah. Well, he's been there a few times as well, and he knows the club inside out as well. Anyway, talking about inside out, we better go now. But the Scottish Premiership playoffs tonight finish Raith Rovers 1, Ross County 2. Second leg is on Sunday. We'll be on at 3 o'clock. I will be back tomorrow with the big preview of the Scottish Cup, and we'll be back on Sunday as well for the second leg. Thanks for all your comments tonight. Thanks to Graham for his jokes. And we will do it all again tomorrow live at 5.